Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Hope you're enjoying my videos. Have you been considering buying a Penn Pursuit reel? It's the entry-level line of the current spinning reel sets from Penn. Are you looking at how to maintain one of these? If you have one and it needs some servicing, are you looking to repair one? Do you have it apart? And trying to figure out how to put it back together again. I'm going to do a quick introduction of this reel. I'm going to take it apart, give you an inside look at it. And hopefully if you have one that's some pieces and parts or needs some repair, you'll see the process to go ahead and do that. So this is the entry level. I'm working on a Penn 6000 Pursuit II, but they're pretty much the same up and down the product line. So let's get started. I'll show you the gear sets that are in here. The Pursuit is the entry level reel. It's a 4-ball bearing plus a single anti-reverse. It runs on a 4.6 to 1 ratio, and it holds about 295 yards of 15-pound test. So the first thing we're going to do is take the side plate apart and give you a look at the gearing in there. You'll also see how it's lubed from the factory, and if you're about performing some basic maintenance, you'll see the right levels of lubrication associated with that. So this is a 4.4-in-1 ball bearing set. It's got 2 on the main drive, 1 on each side. Got 1 on the crosswind reel, and it's got 1 on the pinion. That's all you need. There are a lot of folks that think that more is better. I would say the baseline is the 4, minimum 3, 1 on each side of the main gear, and then 1 on the other side of the pinion. So, okay, I take them out. When I do my reel repair, I use a parts tray. In this case, it's the bottom of a milk jug, just a place to hold the small parts so I know where to look at them. Nice. This has got a metal side plate jacket. A lot of the reels in this range don't have metal. They have graphite or plastic parts. This is metal, so that's a nice thing to see. Next is your main gear. It's got a ball bearing on the top. It's also got a ball bearing on the bottom, but you can't see that because the spool shaft is in the way. And if you take this reel apart to service it, you're going to have to remove the 2 screws that go on the shaft. You do that simply by using a small Phillips head screwdriver. And again, I put those small pieces into a parts bucket, and then the shaft comes out. You do not need to take the spool off in order to get the shaft assembly out. Okay, next out is the main gear. You can see that it's lightly lubricated. It's not over lubricated. That's a problem a lot of times with reels because you put so much grease in there that at the end of the day you can't, it collects too much grease and grime and junk and becomes an obstacle rather than a help. Okay, so next is the cross-wind assembly. It's got a carrier piece for the spool. It's got the main gear. Again, you can see it's lubed. Okay, what's the difference between this and a Fierce 2? One of the differences between this and a Fierce, which is the next level up, is they have a ball bearing on the crosswind gear. This one does not. It just simply rides on the post. So I'm just taking that apart to show you. We will put that back together in case you have it apart and you're wondering how that works. Next piece that goes, we're reversing the process now at the low end of it, is the transition piece for the spool. And that little groove back there is where this rides on, and the one piece tucks under the guide on the side, and then the main gear goes back in. And then at this point, the spool assembly can go back on, but I just want to give you a quick look inside on the anti-reverse gear assembly. To do that, you take the main nut off the top. This one's nice. It's got a cap on it, and the cap kind of doesn't permit you to over tighten the bail carrier assembly. So simply reverse that counterclockwise like you would any nut. That comes off. Again, I put that in the parts bucket. Your carrier assembly comes off, and then under here you have 2 pieces. I'm not going to take them off for the purpose of this illustration, But if you take the 3 screws off, you're going to pull the pinion assembly off. The pinion assembly is going to have an anti-reverse gear sitting, a bearing sitting on there, and underneath that it's going to have a ball bearing for this to ride on. So it's a nice quality entry level point reel. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back on. It has a rectangular set to it, and there we go. We should have the alignment on that one. I'm just not getting it aligned properly. Okay, and then repeat the process the other way. 5/8 nut turned clockwise. Won't allow you to over tighten it because it's sealed up top. Lock nut assembly. There we go. And then the lock screw. Those of you that watch my videos know I have a little bit of a problem with some of the smaller parts and my dexterity, but we'll get it in there. I've been doing reels for over 20 years now, and I thought I would share my experiences with you, as well as provide some buying guides and tips. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one back on. Again, some troubles with the smaller pieces and parts, but if you have some patience, it lines up pretty easily. Okay. So this reel has fabric drags that are oiled in the spool assembly, and it's a lower end drag system. If you're looking at the Penn Battle, which is probably the top of the line before you get into the slammers or the spin fishers, the Battle does have an HT100 heavy duty drag system. If you're considering buying these, you need to ask yourself what purpose is your fishing. If you're going to be doing just a few trips a year, going to be going for some medium range 20-pound fish, then you can probably get away without the getting any further down the purchase ladder than a Penn Pursuit. If you're going to make, like, say, 15 trips a year, if you're going to get out more and you want a little bit smoother operating reel than the Penn Fierce. Next up, and again, the difference on the Penn Fierce, it's a little bit bigger main gear. This is at 4.6. The Fierce is at 5.3, and that being the primary difference, and then there's that one little gear we were talking about on the crosswind shaft. Okay, so we put those two back in on the spool assembly shaft. We put the cover back on. We know where to look for these because I got the small parts tray. And I'll put those back in. And then we'll close the reel up. So it's got a nice structure, nice bones to it, if you will. I don't know anybody who's bought them. It doesn't enjoy using them, but again, it needs to be for the purposes. You can match any reel to any fishing condition. It's a matter of if you're out every day, if you're a charter boat member, if the reel's going to be heavily used or if it's going to be occasionally used. And the type of fish that you're going to pursue. So again, I think a Penn Pursuit, if you're a weekend fisherman and occasionally dealing with the bigger fish, this is plenty for what you're going to be doing, and it should meet all of the needs that you have as you go through it. So one last piece, I'll show you the drags. You shouldn't have to replace these. It's a relatively new reel, but I'll just lay out the drags for you just so you see this. At the counterclockwise on the turn. That'll enable you to pull the spool off. Inside the spool assembly, you have a retaining ring. I use a little pin as a tool to work that retaining ring out. You'll see that there's offsets in the spool here, and you can reach behind it to grab that. The little guy just shot. And then you got some pretty good size washers in here. They're the same size washers, I believe, as that are in the Penn Jigmaster. They are an oiled felt type of a structure. There should be 7 of them. So this goes in order. Okay, so it goes felt, metal, felt, metal, felt, metal. I'm going to get these backwards. Little eared, there we go. Okay, and then finish. So let's go reassemble this. The easiest way to reassemble it is on the reel. Okay, we're going to put that first felt one in. I'm going to grab one of the metal washers, seat that. Second felt washer. Now these just need a spot of oil. They're oiled felt. You don't need dry grease on it. The eared washer goes in next. Felt, metal, and again these sit on the posts. Last eared washer. Finish the stack with the last of the felt ones, which you didn't see before, but it's on the back of this one. It's greased up. And then the final metal one up top. And you just got to play with it because it's a rectangular spool shaft. And that's why it's easier usually to, there we go. All right, and then you put the metal retaining ring in the slot on this. Okay, so that's basically both the maintenance, the pieces and parts, and a little bit of the story behind the Penn Pursuit. It's a nice reel. You buy these usually around the $60 price point. The Penn Fierce would be about a $90 price point. The Penn Battle would be about $120 price point. And then you move up to the slammers and the spin fishers, which are probably $150, $170 kind of an area. Okay, there you go. Nice smooth reel. Lasts a long time. I recommend it if you're a casual weekend fisherman kind of a person dealing with fish in the 15-20 pound range. It'll last you a long time, and as you see from taking that apart, easily serviced. If you like this video, I'd ask you to subscribe to my channel. I'm always doing product reviews. I'm always doing reel repair. I've been doing it for 20 years, sharing my experiences and hoping that it helps you in your buying decision and helps you when you're repairing the reels. Thanks for watching. Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.